Hey everybody, Paddy here. Thank you so much for watching and listening to TFN, the Effin News. What I'm doing is simple, finding positive and inspiring news stories in this amazing country and bringing them to you each week. Here's what's coming up on this show. Today's great Kiwi is legendary artist Dick Frizzell. What was he thinking? What was the feeling the day he created his iconic and controversial grocer with moko artwork? Now, my good Kiwi today needs a parental warning. Dodging is a Norwegian sport. The literal translation, though, is death diving. It's the unhinged cousin of our manu, and our guest today travels the world to compete. You won't believe your eyes. And how good is Christchurch? Pretty simple, really. It's the best. First up, our great Kiwi. Dick Frizzell is my favourite artist. He's recently written a book. It's called Hastings, and it's also about Hastings. Now, I've always wanted to ask him about one of his most iconic paintings, the one with the moko on the Four Square Man. And Dick is here now. Hi, Dick. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to the Effin News. Yeah, this is the Effin News. Well, you're the Effin News, and you're a great Kiwi. And we'll talk today a lot about Kiwiana, and we'll talk a lot about Hastings, because that's what your book is about.
Yeah.
Is Hastings, in your view, one of the great New Zealand towns, if not the greatest?
I did have a fabulous time. I mean, Hastings was perfect for me, I think, then. You know what I mean? The size of it and the everything else. I mean, it had just enough. We got Coca-Cola and we got hamburgers, you know, by the skin of our teeth, you know, just enough. Blue jeans, just enough. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Blue jeans.
Yeah, I remember when they came in.
Tight, flares, what were they?
Yeah, straights.
They're straights.
Yeah, there's no tights or flares or anything at that time, yeah.
Yeah. In terms of some of, let's go through some of your most well-known pieces, I guess. So you decided to put the moko on the Four Square Man.
I mean, I knew it was dynamite when I did it. I was trembling so much I could hardly paint it, all the lines, you know. And I knew it was dodge, but I knew it was something that had to be said, you know.
Yeah, so what were you trying to say there?
Well, I was trying to say...
This is you merging...
Yeah, well, as well as I had this thing that culture has to flow both ways. And I don't think I was punching up or punching down. I found I was just punching across, you know, with the Māori artists that I respected. And of course, Ralph Hotery's doing... Everything he did was based on the history of Western European art. There was no Maori art in it. You know, so there's Ralph Hotery doing that, doing my thing, and I thought, why can't I do his thing? You know, so I was pretty serious about it, because it was just this kind of cultural clash, wasn't it? Boom. It was very dense bit of iconography, you know, there's so many things that it could be implying without necessarily saying one thing or this thing, and that's what sort of captured me about that. And then and of course, don't forget, I was very careful in the entire operation to not actually use any Māori art forms. I was always implying it. You could take a biomorphic shape from the mid-20th century modernism and jig it, and it would look like a tiki if you put a hole in it and another bit of thing. And without, so everyone would go, oh, that's a tiki, but it wasn't. No way was it in any form a classic tiki. So you get readings from nothing. It's amazing what people will do.
And you were actually trembling when you did that?
I was, yeah. I knew it was hot when I did it, without a doubt, because it was so bottomless what it implied, you know, which is what art does.
And are you glad that you put the moko on the Four Square Man today?
Yeah, of course I am. I'm so proud of it. I think it created a sort of a poignant signal that you could argue about forever, you know. And I was very careful to create a totally generic moko, you know, that I just made up an archetype. It didn't refer to anything. You can't. There's no one's going to say, oh, you've stolen my moko or anything, because it's 100% generic, you know. I was very careful about that. I worked hard at that.
And you're glad you did it?
Oh, I'm glad I did Mickey to Tiki. I'm glad I did. I don't regret anything I've done, you know, because I haven't done anything willfully or wantonly or cynically, you know what I mean? Ever, yeah. It's always been trying to contribute to a discussion about who we are and what we are and where we come from. Yeah, 100%.
Brilliant, and thank you for all of the work that you've done for Aotearoa New Zealand. Dick Frizzell, do you have one final thing? Is any advice for other Kiwi from a life well lived in this country?
Well, just don't get too clever, I think is the big trick. You know what I mean? The minute you get clever, you start wandering into false kind of premises and ideas and what have we. I think obviously there's a lot of cleverness involved. I had this thing about I used to take an art school when people would come along to learn these things, and I had a sign up the back that said, "You're not allowed to be creative." And then everyone would go, "What do you mean by that?" And I said, "Well, I know the minute you guys start being creative, you're going to fuck it up."
Well done. Good on you, Dick. Thanks for joining us on This Is the Effin' News.
Thank you. Oh, the effing news. I made it. I used the word. Well, that was very good, Paddy. Thank you.
Great interview, mate. Great interview. Dick Frizzell's book, Hastings, is available at all good bookstores and probably some bookstores that are a bit average too, but there's actually no such thing as an average bookstore. It's a great read. It's well above average, and I recommend it. Right, now time for what will probably be quite a controversial Good Kiwi. Okay, so you might think that the name Flynn Chisholm is a pretty innocent sounding name, but probably none of my other guests would have as many critical comments on their spectacular Instagram posts as Flynn does. And it's all because of the sport he travels the world to compete in, dodsing. We're about to find out exactly what that is. But first, a warning, kids, anyone, you should never try to do the things that Flynn is going to tell us about, and I'm not joking. Flynn, Fizzy Sens, welcome to This Is the Fucking News.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, what is dodsing? What is death diving? What do you actually do? What is this? What is this?
So I describe it. You're on a platform, you jump off, there's water underneath, and it looks like you're going to belly flop until the last second. And then you close up nice and tight into like a staple form, like most Kiwis would describe it. And then, from there, big impact into the water, like the morals of the sport is you want to have stees through the air, look stylish, and big impacts.
Yeah. So how high do you jump off? Because it looks pretty damn high.
Well, my biggest jump, 35 meters. That was a massive impact. Yeah, I jump anywhere from 1 meter to my 35 meter, my PR.
Yeah, that's your personal record. And where did you do that? And where does that sort of stack up on a world scale? What's the world record DODS, I guess, or death dive?
So I did the jump Kataperi Dam, close to Cambridge on the Waikato River. That jump, I think at the time, was the 7th highest DODS in the world. So only 7 other people have done 35 plus, roughly. And then there's like 4 other athletes that's done above 40. So that's what I'm looking for.
That's where you want to try and get to. And before we go too far, we'll ask you about that jump in a second. Why is it called dodsing? The word DODS.
Yep. So DODS originated in Norway. The history is there. And DODS means death in Norwegian. And then the diving part came from America. They called it death diving. They got stoked on it as well. And now it's everywhere.
It's just catching on around the world, is it? And that's led you to, do a DODS or a death dive, which is a pretty freaky name for the thing, isn't it? Death diving. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely scares people away from trying it.
Yeah, but it is what most Kiwis, of my generation at least, will think of as a staple, and everyone used to do staples back in the day. But, dodsing, death diving, staples, 35 metres off Kataperi Dam. Tell me about that. That is a massive, massive jump.
Yeah, big mental battle. Like I was there probably 4 times prior to the jump. The first 2 times I'm like, there's no way it's happening. I thought it was just too high, couldn't be done. Like it's flat water, so like no aerated water to jump into. And then I went the day before as well to scout it out, the day before I jumped it. And I'm like, wow, like this could be doable. Like I did a lot of conditioning, and then I think in the car I was like nearly about to cry just thinking about I'm doing this tomorrow. That night I watched a horror movie actually, got my mind away from the jump. Next day came back and did it. Like, it was such a crazy event. I mean, I love the mindset that you get into when you're in the air. Like, it's different to other sports because if you don't perform, you're going to get really injured or you can die. It is death diving for a reason. Like, if I didn't close properly, there is that risk. And I was willing to accept that risk. But yeah, I love the survival mindset that you have to be in the air. Like, I think it's like, I appreciate life way more because of it.
Yeah, take us through those seconds in the air, because 35-metre jump off Karapiro Dam, I mean, how long does it take to get down, I guess?
Not as long as you might think. It was like 3 seconds roughly, hitting the water at 100 k's, so the impact was pretty heavy.
You hit the water at 100 k's?
Yeah, 100 k's, yeah.
And you folded into a staple, basically,
Yeah,
at that
leading
point.
with my hands and head.
So show me how you do that. What do you do when you hit the water?
Form like this. So you want to fold right in half.
You want to get right in half. So if I was to do it, I'm pretty tall. It would be to get right down like that and hit the water like, and it would be get right down like that and hit the water like that.
Yeah, I'd say with that form you might have ruptured your lungs, but...
Okay, I won't do it.
Yeah,
Definitely not from 35 metres. I might do it off the side of a swimming pool.
Yeah.
But I'm too old for this sort of carry on anyway. So you do that. Did you rupture anything? Did you manage to close properly after 35 metres? What happened?
Yeah, I didn't close like the most ideal way possible. I was kind of a little bit open, so my stomach copped it a bit. So I came up a bit groggy. I was trying to celebrate, but you come up like, ugh, like winded as, and then coughed up a little bit of blood. It's just what happens.
You coughed up some blood from the pressure, I guess.
Yeah, from the impact, that smack, because from that height, you actually don't go that deep. Like you're hitting the water that fast, and you're in a situation where there's quite a bit of surface area hitting as well. So you're just slowing right down. So I just copped it all with my stomach.
Yeah, but you still were happy with what you'd done.
Oh yeah, I was super stoked. Like, I think we drove straight to Macca's, and I ate so much. I was just celebrating. Yeah.
Can you go higher? Do you want to go higher? How high do you want to jump off?
Yeah, it's always a goal to PR. Definitely goals for the 40 club to... I don't know if I'll be the fifth person. Like, the sport's growing and more people are doing it, so I'm not sure if I'll be the fifth, but yeah, 40 metres or a possible world record in the future. I haven't looked that far, but 40 metres is definitely a goal of mine. Right,
so to join the 40 club, and you're 7th in the world at the moment in terms of the height jump, but if you went to 40, you'd be getting right up into that top 5 at the moment. Yeah. Can you do that anywhere in New Zealand? The only place I can think of is the Harbour Bridge.
The Harbour Bridge. Yeah, I've thought about the Harbour Bridge. I'd love to jump off the bungee there. There's also a bungee down south in Queenstown, the AJ Hackett one. That's roughly 40, I believe. That would be the best spot. It's scenic. You know, you're jumping off a place where people are jumping off with ropes. You know, it'd be pretty crazy.
Is it deep enough there, though, do you think, into that river? If you look that far, could you do it there?
Yeah, I believe so. I only need about 4 metres depth, and I'm pretty sure it's at least that.
So you're quite serious about wanting to jump off the AJ Hackett, Queenstown?
I keep my options open.
Yeah.
Like, I have had maybe 2 other 40 metres that I've scoped out, one in Tauranga, but it's a 6-hour round trip. So safety-wise, I wouldn't really want to do it because there's no easy way in and out if something goes wrong.
And there's another spot as well that's also over 40 metres that you'd...
Yeah, again, you need a jet boat there, and then you got to walk another hour and a half. It's the bridge to nowhere. So another amazing spot out Wanganui.
Yeah, the bridge to nowhere, I know it.
Yeah.
Now, there will be, and on your Instagram, there are a lot of critics of what you do. They think you're crazy and a bad influence. What do you say to them?
I'm preparing for my jumps just like everyone prepares for their sport as well. You know, people get in the ring and like try to kill each other, and they prepare the best they can for that. You know, they condition their body and they're doing the things they do to be the best and come out as uninjured as possible. I'm doing the exact same thing. Like, I'm training very hard, conditioning my body for the impacts, and then taking away as many risks as possible with depth checking, having many people there, throwing rocks to visualize. Visualization's a big part of it. And with a big jump, I'm like locked in for a week on it. Like I don't rock up to a 30 meter like on the day and just jump it. Like I've probably planned that for a couple of weeks or so.
Yeah,
very calculated.
And take me through those last moments of the 35-metre jump, then that mental preparation. What do you do? You know, do you have a countdown? Do your mates count you down? How do you get, you know, is it sort of 3, 2, 1 jump like, you know, I used to do back in the day? Or how does it go?
Yeah, so I have very strong rituals, like leading up from the start of the day. You know, like I have Cindy boxes. Like I have a certain pair of undies that I wear for my big jumps.
Cindy boxes.
Cindy boxes, yeah. I actually lost those on the dam.
What, they came off?
Yeah, they ripped. Yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, yeah.
Anyway, I'll carry on with the rituals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll get up to my jump. Like I'll look at it, throw a few rocks to visualize how long I'm going to be in the air for, and then I'll count down myself. I don't let anyone else do it. Unless I'll say, like, give me a 5, but that's on the more chill jumps. When it's a big one and it's PR, I'll count down from 3. As soon as I start counting, I'm locked in. Like, there's no way I'm pulling out of this. I'm in the zone. 2, 1, send it, and then I take off.
You go on, send it.
Yeah.
And what do your folks think of this? What do your parents think of this?
My dad loves it now. Yeah, he thinks outside the box a lot, and he loves being different, and he thought this is pretty different as well. My mum's just accepted it now.
Yeah, because you're an extreme athlete, you're a speed climber as well.
Yeah, I represent New Zealand in speed climbing. So you may know Julian David. He went to the Olympics, so I competed alongside him. We just got back from 2 World Cups 2 weeks ago.
So you view dodsing, or it is a sport. People might not know it or understand it, but it is a sport, and you compete globally.
Yep.
Professionally, semi-professionally?
Yeah, so I'm heading over to Europe and next Monday, so a week, and I'll be competing at the World Tours. It's like a World Cup circuit, and then you get points through those competitions to go to World Champs, which is the goal. And then I got invited to a bunch of other events, like 20-meter DODS events where you're throwing yourself, doing tricks and spins, and then heaps of prize money as well in it. That's another goal, is trying to find a sponsor to help fund these trips and get paid for what I do. Trying to get Red Bull on board, they're a bit tough.
Yeah, you'll find something, I'm sure. I mean, good luck with the dodsing, good luck with the death diving. Thank you very much for your time, Fizzy Sens, also known as Flynn Chisholm.
Cheers, thank you.
And once again, to you at home, do not try this stuff. It's dangerous if you know what you're doing, like Fizzy, and it is incredibly dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Now it's time for How Good. How good is Christchurch? So booming good that it is time to admit that it is our best city by far. The place has what our other cities don't right now, absolutely positive vibes. I went for a walk around central Christchurch at the weekend and it was absolutely going off. A city's CBD is, of course, its symbolic heart, and Christchurch's is thumping. Compare that to Queen Street that is barely breathing, and Lambton Quay, well, it's pretty much stopped. If you haven't been to Christchurch in a while, or Chicha in a while, you must go. Christchurch's CBD has come up an absolute stunner. It's a ripper. It is dreamy. Every time I go to Chicha, I leave slightly confused. Then I realise why. It's because the people are happy. They're spending money. The place is growing and it is going forward. There is this feeling in the air of the Garden City of absolute positivity, so different to the feeling of negativity in our other major cities. I saw strange things in Christchurch that you would never see in somewhere like Wellington, like the site for a new office building, because Christchurch has run out of bloody office space. Then I took a trip to the north of the city, out into the high growth areas where reasonably priced houses, yes, that's what I said, reasonably priced houses, are popping up left, right and centre. Rangiora, a country town the last time I visited, felt like a city in itself with humming cafes and all the rest of it. I was left wishing our other cities around New Zealand could be more like Christchurch. And I say this as a North Islander born and bred. I will admit that I've always looked down on Christchurch, thinking it was full of ponces with a weird obsession about schooling. I'm happy to admit that I've been horribly wrong. The place is growing exponentially, full of hard-working people chasing the Kiwi dream, which is basically a better life. Affordable housing is the key to this, obviously, but the stats back up what I'm saying. Greater Christchurch currently has a population of 500,000. This is projected to reach over 700,000 by 2050 and potentially double to 1 million people. These numbers do not lie. Neither do the huge numbers at the Electric Avenue Music Festival, the busy tech sector, the brand new stadium that's coming up, and all of the other symbols of strength. I won't talk about the Crusaders, and I do reckon you should rebuild that damn cathedral. But anyway, I could go on and on. So Christchurch, you are New Zealand's best city. The rest of the country needs to look to Christchurch and learn. I have huge respect for Cantabrians who have obviously shown huge resilience after the earthquakes to come back better. That is the lesson here. Christchurch is absolutely positive. It was down, but it got back up again. Our other New Zealand cities can look to Christchurch and do the same. All right. That's TFN for another week. If you hear of anything or know of anything that can bring some positivity to the world of news in this country, and I'm talking about inspiring people and great solutions, get in touch. Paddy at tfn.co.nz. See you next week. Chirp.